no mountain you can't climb, no answer you can't find. All you need is a hand to hold. It'll heal your body, feed your soul. Ain't no mountain you can't climb, no answer you can't find. All you need is a hand to hold. It'll heal your body, feed your soul. 'Cause the road is dark, you can't find a way. Let the Spirit light the way. Hand it over. Get on your knees and pray. Hand it over, hand it over. Give it up, give it over. Hand it over. Get on your knees and pray.
That's Jack Hadley. It's even better the second time around. We're so excited to have you, and thank you for your patience this morning while we worked out our technical issues. And we say good morning and welcome to Columbine Spiritual Center. We're centered in God. We celebrate a world of harmony, peace, and abundance for all. We're here in the Unity Columbine studio, coming to you live and fresh. And if you're in the sanctuary, we're going to ask you to jump up and sing with us. And if you're at home, you might want to do the same thing too. Get your pets involved. 2, 3.
Say the words I want to hear, do the deeds I hold so dear, give the love I long to receive, and be the change, be the change I like to see. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. I want to hear, do the deeds I hold so dear, give the love I long to receive, and be the change I like to see. Do 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 do. I like to see. Do 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 do. I like to see. Do 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 do.
You guys sound great. I know you sound great at home. We're going to skip over the next song and go right into our meditation chant. So we just invite you to find a quiet place, plant your feet on the floor, deepen your breathing, and let's prepare our hearts and minds for prayer and meditation.
I am here to
And so I invite you to, as Janice said, deepen your breath. Take a couple of nice deep breaths. And let's just relax into those words. We're here to give and receive love. For many, there are so many pressures on our lives right now. This is our opportunity to rest for a while, to come away and allow Spirit to be Spirit in us, which is a quality of holding, a quality that allows us to relax and to relax deeply as we surrender into it. And couldn't all of us use a little bit more relaxing? We can always come here into that still quietness of our inner being for a break, to get away, and to be reminded that life is in a beautiful, loving flow, a flow that is always carrying us. Everything happens in the flow. And we have an opportunity to just move with the flow of our life, trusting where it takes us, even if we can't understand why. Knowing that our nature is love, Spirit's nature is love. Allowing that love to be our reality, our resting place, our guide. I invite you to bring to mind everyone on your personal prayer list. Bring them into this quiet, peaceful, loving space. Invite them into the rest, into the relaxation. Surround them in love. Allow their very souls to relax in this moment with us, to open to the flow, to simply be the magnificence that they are. And so we take a moment now to drop off into the silence, knowing that the silence is a place of healing, actually a tremendous place of support, and a place where we have the opportunity to listen and be guided. And so we rest together in the silence.
It is my great pleasure this morning to introduce a wonderful guest artist that is new to us, but certainly not new to the Front Range music scene. You've probably already heard Jack somewhere, and you'll be reminded of that today when he sings again for you. So please join me in welcoming Jack Hadley.
Train coming, picking up passengers from coast to coast. Faith is the key, open the door and board. You don't need no ticket. You just get on board. There ain't no room for the hopeless sinner who would hurt all mankind just to save his own. Have pity on those whose chances grow thinner. There's no hiding place from the kingdom's throne. So people get ready for the train to Jordan, picking up passengers from coast to coast. All you need is faith to hear the diesel humming. You don't need no ticket. You just thank the so people get ready for the train coming, picking up passengers from coast to coast. Faith is the key, open the door and board 'em. You don't need no ticket, you just get on board.
Say it again, Janice. That's right, all six of us. Thank you, Jack. Good to have you here today. So a man appeared in front of St. Pete at the pearly gates. And St. Peter said to him, "Have you done anything of any merit?" And the man thought for a moment, and he said, "Well, yes, I was on a trip to the Black Hills in South Dakota when I came across a motorcycle gang that was harassing a young woman. When I asked them to stop, they ignored me. So I walked up to the biggest guy covered in tattoos, and I hit him across the face. And I tipped over his motorcycle, and I grabbed his nose ring and pulled it out of his nose and threw it on the ground. And I said, 'If you guys continue to harass this woman, this is what each of you will get.'" St. Peter was curious. When exactly did this happen? Just a few minutes ago. I love this story because when our individual sense of self, what we call the ego, is triggered, it most often, especially if we're not aware, thinks that violence should be met with violence. And yet what this story beautifully illustrates is that violence only fosters more violence. Oh, maybe not right in the moment, but mark my words, violence usually will come back and bite us later. Next Sunday marks the beginning of a season for nonviolence. It runs from January 30th to April 4th. It is sandwiched in between the anniversary of Mahatma Gandhi's death and Martin Luther King Jr.'s death, 64 days. And here's how it is described. A season for nonviolence is a grassroots campaign dedicated to promoting nonviolence as a powerful way to heal, transform, and empower our lives and our communities. This is so true. And it's particularly true if we approach it from a spiritual way. You see, spiritually, we're always asked to get in and look at our relationship with something, our relationship with spirit, our relationship with our deep-seated beliefs, so that there's an opportunity for us to transform, to move in a different way, in a different direction. This season for nonviolence is inviting us, from a spiritual standpoint, to look at our relationship with violence. So often when our individual separate sense of self finds itself immersed in something like a season for nonviolence, its focus is, okay, what do I need to do to conform to this? How do I become a better ego here, a better person? It wants to learn, it wants to mimic new behavior. If you think about it, it's just adding more and more layers of should to our lives. This is yet another thing that we need to control, that we need to be efforting. Or maybe even more popularly among the ego self would be to convince us that we're really not violent. No, they're not really speaking to us. We're the model of nonviolence. But can that really be true? Not likely. And here's why. And why sometimes it's hard for us to detect our own violence. You see, each of us was raised by parents. We were immersed in schools and whatnot where our teachers, our parents, our grandparents, all of our caregivers, there's no way they could be perfectly attuned to us. And so we have hurts, we have frustrations, we have disappointments. And what's interesting is in order to keep us healthy, and it's a very important thing that needs to happen for a kid, when those hurts, disappointments, letdowns, when they happen, the ego exiles them to the subconscious. Doesn't want us to be overwhelmed by those feelings, doesn't want us to continue to feel those feelings. And as I said, it's important that that happens. The problem is that life has a way of getting in there and stirring up that pot of unconscious or poking at it. And we don't tend to like that. Oh, we may not be overtly violent about it, but we'll be angry, we'll be passive aggressive, we'll experience a lot of tension, or we may collapse. All of these are ways that we relate to violence. The challenge with subconscious is that it's subconscious. It's unknown. There's literally tons of information on this season for nonviolence. And as I was reading articles and reading different meditations to myself, I was really pleased to see two themes come up that I think could really help us to begin to bring the unconscious to conscious. One of them was repeatedly, I read to trust your guidance, to pause, to listen for the guidance, to resist that tendency to react out of the voice or the impulses of that ego self, which is not trying to overtly be violent, but works very hard to push away any threat that might upset the apple cart, might stir that unconscious, might bring up difficult feelings. So as we do our spiritual practice, we develop the capacity to symbolically count to 10 and to listen. And then the second thing that was talked about over and over again is trust your truth. And by that I mean your personal truth. What is your truth in the moment? I have realized that there are many things in my life where it's not clear to me right away what the truth is. I have to contemplate what the truth is because there are layers and layers and layers of beliefs and shoulds that tend to taint my clarity around what my truth is. But see if you can't track with me that if you're living your truth, if you're following the guidance of a higher power, then in some way it's much more satisfying than to be living according to the shoulds and the rules of your family, of your culture, of your workplace. There's something incredibly satisfying about being yourself. And with that, then there is a tremendous reduction in the frustration. Oh, there can be some anxiety around it because often it's new. Often we feel like we're very alone. You know, we're stepping away from the norm in some ways. We're stepping out of the culture that we've known, and yet we're aligning with something that is real and true for us. There's no residual. and thus there is less frustration, hurt, abandonment. We can relax. And in the relaxing, there's more peace. More satisfaction with life. But is following guidance and living our truth enough? Let's see. I recently met a gentleman who, and I prodded him a little bit. If you've ever hung out with me, I'm always asking questions. So he probably told me more than he wanted to, but what a powerful story he told me of, especially in his adult years, of having a brother who really picked at everything he did. If he ever tripped in any small way, his brother made it into a big deal. He always felt like he didn't really notice this in the moment, but he felt, as he thought back on it, like he was always needing to apologize for himself, always needing to work to keep the relationship above board, to keep himself in good graces with his brother. And then one day he sort of woke up. And I want to point out to you that we don't often talk about this, but this is one of the aspects of grace, that we have so many layers and we get pulled into so many patterns and so many shoulds in our life, and then all of a sudden we wake up to that pattern, to that abuse. That's grace. And he woke up. And suddenly he confronted his brother and said, listen, I'm not going to apologize for this last thing I did, forgetting an anniversary or something. And in fact, I'd like you to apologize to me. You are constantly riding me for these little insignificant things that happen that are not horrible things, that do not make me out to be the horrible person that you say that I am. Now, if we just pause the story there, that's powerful. Do you see, whenever we're not living our truth, we're somehow held back? In this case, this man was able to stand up for himself, to say, I am not a bad person, to stop always being one down, always being the one that's treading water, trying to get back into good graces. He's simply acknowledging the truth that he's a good person and beginning to support that through his words. But the story goes on. And that his brother found his insistence that he apologize. He, of course, twisted that all around to just, again, how bad he is, continues every little thing he does. He continues to just blanket the family with how he's a bad person. And it's brought up a good deal of anger in him. He suffers in the anger. Anger is an interesting thing. Anger is a tool that the ego can use to push away the threat. And so you see his willingness to tell the truth. And most of the time when we're willing to really get in touch with our truth, live the guidance, it has a tendency to push up against that which is not the truth inside of us. So there's something that hurts probably in this man. And we can imagine if we've been on the run our whole lives trying to convince people that we're really okay when someone else is telling them that we're bad. You can imagine there's stuff to be healed there. But this man wasn't oriented towards spiritual work. He didn't really even understand what spiritual work was. The vast majority of the people, I don't think, do. And I could feel so clearly that we have to be willing to pair listening to guidance, speaking our truths, with our willingness to get in and do the work around that which comes up, the reactivity that comes up, the resistances that come up, the desire to go back to the old ways that come up. Or we just suffer. We suffer in the outcome. And the whole nature of spiritual growth is to be free of that which holds us back. So it begs a lot of questions, right? Like, how are you? How is it for you to pause and wait for guidance, knowing that guidance comes according to God's time, not our time? It's a total bummer, let me assure you. But it's worth waiting for, definitely worth waiting for. Or to have to sit and really contemplate, what is my truth here? How is that for you? And how is it when there are ramifications to you stepping out in guidance, to you stepping out in truth? Have you been willing to take the deep dive into, and what is the source of these? Why am I angry here? Why am I hurting here? Why do I wish that I had never stepped out in my truth here? I want to point out one thing, and that is that your powers of power and strength are not violent. I find so often in the counseling that I do that people have put away strength and power because they've been given the message that you're not a loving or kind person if you have access to strength and power. But they're very different than the kind of energy that is violence. Strength supports us in living our truth, and therefore also in setting boundaries. With strength comes tremendous clarity. Power is the opposite of powerlessness. It is another support that comes up in us and that reminds us, I am not powerless here. I can do this. And when you couple that with will, which is another I can and I will energy, you've got an incredible cocktail for living your truth. And it has an impact. You know, in that first story, I want to go back. Lisa, let's do that quote before we get too far down. I realized I missed a quote. Dom actually is his name. Let me pull up in my notes so I can read more clearly. Dom Helder Camara was a Brazilian Catholic archbishop. He died in 1999, and he has this simple thing to say that is so true and so reinforcing as to why we need to take the deep dive. It's useless to dream of a reforming society without a corresponding deep change in our inner lives. We must get to the bottom of the hurts in order to stop fostering violence. So I want to tell you a story from my own life. I was starting to tell you I would have loved, if that was a true story about the guy in the Black Hills, I would have loved to have been there to see if he was coming from real strength and real power when he told that motorcycle gang to leave the young woman alone. My orientation towards violence was to collapse. For most of my life, it was to collapse until I really started taking my own deep dive into my hurts and my woundedness. So one day, and I've told this story before, but it's a perfect illustration. One day I was driving back to my home in Denver, and I was driving down Park Avenue. If you know Park Avenue, there's no pull-offs. It's a 4-lane road. There's no parking along the road. And as I was pulling down the street, I see 2 men fighting, and really fighting. I mean, lots of fists, lots of kicking, aggressive fighting. And much to my surprise, I could not let it be. I could not collapse. And so I stopped my car. I made everyone pull around me. This was new for me, okay? So I wasn't going to run right up to them, but I stood up in the threshold of my car and I started yelling at them. And one thing I recognized afterwards is you know how you can, now stop that. Now it can be right from your throat. It was coming from my belly. It was this incredible strength and power that came out through my voice. And I was saying, stop that. What are you guys doing? What's happening here? Take a breath. I mean, I just kept saying everything I could possibly say. And really, after a few seconds, they looked over at me, probably to see what the hell that gay guy was doing yelling at them. But they stopped. They looked at me, they looked at each other, and they walked off in separate directions. You see, our ego self thinks that it does that, thinks that it has to do that, likes to take credit for everything that happens. But when we open to who we are as a spiritual being, which at least my experience tells me requires that we have to clear away that which is not spirit in us. The presence of spirit is so powerful. When we learn to simply be ourselves, and to trust that we can be ourselves, to live our truth, to live the guidance. It changes the world. I remember getting back in my car and I was shaking. That's not uncommon. You see, that was not how my soul was oriented. And so as we allow Spirit to move through us in new ways, it's going to be scary at times, and it's that dance between fear and excitement, right? But it's not going to weigh you down. There's something clean and refreshing and dynamic as we open to who we are as spiritual beings, as we stop just playing out all the wounds and hurts that our ego works to protect us from, to keep in the unconscious. Martin Luther King Jr. said simply, "The time is always right to do the right thing." And today I want to leave you with the truth that if you're willing to pause and listen for the guidance, if you're willing to sort out your truth in the moment, then you're doing the right thing at the right time. And when reactivity comes up, when it doesn't go the way that you'd hoped it would go, be willing to do the deep dive into what's going on for you, what needs to be healed in you, so that you can become truly an expression of nonviolence. Namaste.
I am God without one friend, alone in my purity, in a world without end. But I am God. Below me, young lovers, they tread the sweet ground. But I am God. Better to be human than God. It's better to be human than God and lonely. I'm so lonely. Better to be human than God. It's better to be human than God and lonely. I'm so lonely. I am God. I cannot come down. Spring, life is love. Love is life only. But I am God. Better to be human than God. Better to be human than God and lonely. I'm so lonely.
Thank you, Jack. What a gift. I'm so glad we finally get to have you here. I hope that it becomes a regular thing.
Yeah.
You never know.
You can find out where you are playing out on your website, right? Is it Jack Hadley Music? .net. Awesome.
JackHadleyMusic.net. That's where you can find more about Jack. We are so grateful that you're here joining us virtually today. We can't wait to have everybody back in the sanctuary, and whether you're watching right this second or you're watching later, we feel you here with us, and we are so blessed and grateful for this community. And this is the time in the service where we so gratefully receive your offerings, your love offerings. Each and every donation does something to continue this ministry. It does something to help continue this spiritual center to thrive and to share this message of personal transformation, of spiritual development. And so we thank you for supporting us. We thank you for every dollar, whether it's small or huge, makes a difference. So if you're watching now or later and this has impacted you, this is helpful to you, we thank you for supporting Columbine Spiritual Center. You can always text to give, you can go to the website, there's lots of ways to give. So let's say our offertory blessing together. God's love has always met and will always meet all my needs. I give freely, I receive abundantly, and I am grateful. So we are continuing to move forward. If you're interested in knowing what's going on in Columbine, you can always go to the website. There's a handy-dandy little section in the front that says Digital Bulletin. That is a list of everything that's going on with all of the links. We try to keep on 2 pages sort of current what's going on, but that Digital Bulletin really is sort of the most up to date, exactly what's happening right now. And if you're joining us for the first time, the third time, the 30th time, and you don't receive our email updates, please sign up to receive your email updates, or there's a contact me form where you can ask to be contacted. You have questions, you want to just connect a little bit, and we'll reach out to you. So we have a lot going on, and we're continuing forward. We're just going to keep going. Even with COVID, we're moving to a lot of virtual stuff. So we have some classes coming up. Due to technical issues on the internet, which we know happens, Scott's class last week didn't really work out as planned, so we're starting it, rebooting it this Tuesday, and then it'll follow for 6 weeks prior. So if you hadn't gotten to sign up yet, there's an opportunity to do that. If this talked to you today, this talked to you, and you want to do that deep dive, this is an incredible way to have direct contact with Rev Scott. So I really encourage anybody to sign up for that class where you want to reach in and touch more of that. We also have Unity Basics coming. We have a path to membership and a path to belonging, and the idea of that is understanding more about Unity, understanding more about Columbine, getting involved, making friends, volunteering, becoming part of this community, and that's how you become a voting member. You are a member of the community as soon as you step in and it feels right to you. So if you're interested in knowing more about Unity, maybe you've taken the class before, or maybe you're new, we're going to do it virtually on the 30th at 12 o'clock by Zoom. Again, you can sign up on the website, but I encourage you to go to that digital bulletin and find the sign up for that. Next, we have Prosperity Plus. This is 10 weeks of dream making. This is 10 weeks of looking at what is the life that you would love. And we continue doing these workshops that Mary Morrissey has developed because they're incredible, and they are a way to really start to fashion the life of your dreams and allow yourself to get past your stuck places where you think that you don't deserve it, because you can have anything. Life is unlimited. It's a tithing class, so for those 10 weeks, we ask that you tithe 10% to show the flow, to trust, to know that you can and will have the life of your dreams. It's remarkable what happens. My life was transformed from Prosperity Plus, and I know many people as well who were also transformed. So I encourage you to step up. We are going to do this hybrid once we can do in-person and still have people virtually and in person, but right now it's going to be online, and that's starting February 2nd. So we encourage everybody to register for that. Lastly, we have the Course of Miracles starting. I have never done the course before, and I'm starting it this year. We're doing it together. And Jim Kennedy is new to the community. He moved from Los Angeles. He's been an educator. He's a really remarkable human being. We're so grateful to have him here. And he's going to lead us through a year in the Course of Miracles. So we're going to meet weekly on Thursday nights at 6. We're starting on February 17th. And we would love to have the whole community with us, since we can do Zoom. And then when we're, again, hybrid, we'll figure out how to fit everybody. So again, sign up for that. That's going to be a love offering basis each week. And let's learn how to let go of fear and live from love. That's what the Course teaches. So we encourage you to do that. And we are going to meet again with Fellowship after the service. I'll log on right after we finish up here. And the link for that is in the update from Thursday's update that came in your email box. And let's just connect a little bit. We also have our prayer chaplains, who are not, of course, here in the service because no one's here, but if you're needing prayer support, Columbine is here for you. The prayer chaplains, the ministry, the staff, we're all here to help you on your spiritual journey and help you connect. So please don't hesitate to reach out to your prayer chaplains, send them an email, or have a call. They would love to be there to support you and pray with you. So we just thank you for being part of Columbine Spiritual Center. We love you. We miss having you in person. Hopefully sooner than later we're going to be back. And we just say blessings to all of you.
Blessings. And I'd like to make one short little plug, if you don't mind.
Yes, of course.
One of the community outreach pieces that we've taken on is to provide a meal train for the Monarch K-8 staff. As you can imagine, many of them have been displaced or lost homes themselves, but they're also having to hold things together for the children of the community, many of whom are in the same position. So right now we're doing it about once a week. This coming Thursday, we'll be doing another chili and cornbread feed. If you are able to make a crock pot full of chili and or a pan of cornbread, either regular or gluten-free, please get a hold of me here at the church, Janice at Columbine Unity. That's all.
Fantastic. Thanks for doing that, Janice.
You bet.
All right.
Let's peace out,
Let's
shall
peace
we?
out.
Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be, with God as creator, family all are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my joyous vow. To take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us.
Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. Thank you so much. We love you. Jack, take us out. Am I on?
If your troubles won't go away and you're worried night and day, hand it over, get on your knees and pray. If you're sick, feeling low, got no money Give it over, hand it over, get on your knees and pray. Ain't no mountain you can't climb, no answer you can't find. All you need is a hand to hold, it'll heal your body, beat your soul. 'Cause the road is dark, you can't find a way. Let the Spirit light the way. Hand it over, get on your knees and pray. Hand it over, hand it over. Give it up, give it over. Hand it over. Get on your knees and pray.
Ow! Have a great week, everybody. One more time for Jack.
Thank you.